Alright, so recently I just finished a challenge for myself where I want to build a house every day for 100 days straight. Although that depends if you want to call recently 3 weeks after at the time I'm recording this, although it's probably going to be like 5 weeks seeing as I'm really slow at editing. But either ways, I really want to go on a tour for you guys so you guys can see the behind the scenes. So I'm just going to stop talking. Let's get into it. Alright, so as you can see, I'm loaded into my first creative world here. Basically, I used two of them because once I started doing some builds with environments, I switched over to a regular world instead of this flat world here. But most of my builds should be on this world, around like 70 of them I would say. But anyways, this world's a bit older than the series. I've got a few houses here, these three were here before the series started. And yeah, there's nothing really notable about these except, well, I think this one still looks pretty decent, but really the thing you're here for is probably for the houses that I've built here, obviously not for whatever that is. So I'm gonna try not to take too long for this segment because it takes over an hour when I go through everything, so I'm just gonna try to skim over a few of these. But basically the first few houses here, I want to just say that they took way too long to make for what they are. Like, that took 1 hour to build. This thing. How did this take 1 hour? I don't even know. This took 1 hour somehow. I'm washed. Well, not really, because this was in 100, this was 4 months ago, and I've had 100 days to improve, but I think this house here that you see this is probably my least favorite out of all of them. It's just really bad. I do not like this thing. I do not know what I was cooking with this. I do not know what I was trying to do here, but it's bad. I'd rather not look at that one. And yeah, so these few here are just sort of the first few that I got done. You can see a lot of sort of fantasy in it because that's mainly what I did. And yeah, we have another medieval house here, so you can see that most of these are just medieval or fantasy for the first row. But this is actually the thumbnail for the only other regular video I have, and this one actually has an interior too. The other one is the first one I made. I'm not exactly the most proud about this interior because it doesn't really match the medieval style interior I was going for, but it's alright in my opinion. It's still decent, especially since I was pretty bad at interiors at the time. But yeah, moving forwards here, I'm going to be covering a lot of these first ones here. And this here, I just want to point out because it's going to show a little bit of a trend you might see in some of my builds where I just take too much inspiration from the inspo photo. And because the inspiration photo isn't from Minecraft, I can't really make things look very nice. So I just spam a lot of windows and I use the sort of detailing a bit too much because I build on a pretty small scale because, you know, I have to fit it into like an hour maximum to record all of these, and you know, I'd rather not build a massive one, especially if early on when I don't have Axiom. But yeah, I just take too much of the detailing and I just can't execute it properly, and that's how you get builds that look like that. But moving on, another trend you might see is unfinished builds. So I think the main reason why I couldn't finish this is time, and time as in because I didn't have Axiom at the time, like I just said. So like instead of like using the stack tool here and just selecting all of this and just scrolling it up, cancel that. Instead of doing that, I had to place them all manually, and that's pretty slow, especially when I'm making a huge cube like this. So yeah, that was not fun, so I ended up skipping that one. And here we have I'm pretty happy with these two, actually. Both of these. They're pretty decent, and the main inspiration from those are from real life, which I think those are actually the first ones that I used an inspiration photo from in real life instead of, I don't know, from online, because when I was talking about the example I gave, that's actually from Roblox, which, yeah, I know, it's not exactly the best platform to be talking about right now. Next, we have my first attempt at steampunk Here I got a recommendation to do a steampunk house, and I don't like this one. It's just I took a lot of inspiration from online, and then it just ended up not looking too good. So like when I take a lot of inspiration, I'm like, as long as it looks good, I'll be happy. And this one just did not look good at the end. So yeah, but I do have a second attempt at it, which is actually my only other attempt. And I'm about to go on to a little bit of a rant with this one here, because for some reason, the builds I put the least effort into always get the most views. Now, obviously, not trying to look like I only care about the views, but if you spent like an hour building like houses you put a lot of effort into, and then the dirt house that you spend 12 minutes on gets the most views, you'd feel a little bit mad in a lot of cases, in my opinion, you know. So hopefully you can relate to that in some way. See why I bring it up. But yeah, this one is was the most viewed video I had for quite a while, at least until sort of around the end where I started to pop off a bit. But we also have a pig shrine here, and I just want to point this out because there was originally a bunch of pigs in here, and I put a bunch of sweetberry bushes so that the pigs couldn't escape, but you know, they despawned eventually. But like it was basically, there were so many of them they pushed them outside of the moss carpet, and it's basically like trying to trap an ant with a Sharpie. Once the ant goes over to Sharpie, it doesn't get trapped by the Sharpie anymore. It knows that it can go over, it just never works again. Now we move on to this medieval house here, and I think this is the only time I used the indents to give these support beams, because most of my later builds with the medieval style, they all use signs or just straight up don't have these support beams whatsoever. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Obviously, it's not the most detailed outside of the structure, but I'm still pretty happy with this. It's got a lot of ideas that I didn't really use before. Yeah, moving on, we have the first house that I used Google Maps for to get an inspiration photo. It's not the first time, it's not the last time you'll see it happen. In fact, that house over there uses it as well. But I really liked this house at the time for its exterior, so I built it in interior too, and I'm really happy with this interior. It's probably my favorite interior, and I don't know, it just feels pretty cozy in here. It's got like this wall especially, I don't know why, this wall just feels so mesmerizing. I don't know what the word is for it. It just looks good. I like it, and it looks even better if you turn on shaders, which I don't have right now because it makes it a bit easier on the eyes because it's a bit late at night right now. And yeah, like I said, another house made with Google Maps. I actually like drove past these houses in real life, and I just like, oh cool, I want to build that. So I just noted down where I was on Google Maps, and I just came back to it and built it at home. So yeah, there's that. And now we need to move on to the second row here. So I'm just gonna clip on over here. I don't know how good that editing was. It's probably gonna be really bad. Yeah, this is the first time I tried to make a more vertical house on purpose. I just kind of wanted to stack a bunch of different sort of build sections on top of each other. I think it turned out pretty decently. I still like this one a lot because I think I didn't like it too much at the time. Like obviously I think it was pretty good, but you'll see a little bit later on I had a favorite that was over this, but like obviously the detailing here could be a bit better. But yeah, I just think it's pretty decent. Moving on, we also have this another steampunk one here. Once again, like I said, I wanted to focus more on the vertical aspect because it's a lot easier to do that. I think it's gotten a bit worse as time's gone on. Like the walls here are pretty bland, in my opinion. Could use some more stuff along the side of it, but I think the shape's pretty cool, and it's got a lot of outside of the walls. Obviously, there's a lot of detail to it, so yeah, I like this quite a bit. Alright, now we move on to this little lighthouse that I set up here. This is the first one you'll see that actually has some terraforming, I guess, and about the heaviest quotation marks you can put on it. But yeah, just these like little like spikes here. I just wanted to imitate some waves, and I guess I decided to do it like this. But I'm pretty happy with this lighthouse. Like, I think if this was one lower, I think that would look really nice. And it just feels really quaint, I guess. I'm using a bunch of adjectives here, so apologize if that sounds annoying. But I like how it looks, once again, and that's a good thing because I do not like how a lot of my builds look afterwards. But yeah, we also have this, I think it's a wizard tower? I'm not really sure. I don't even remember what I named these things after, like, I don't know, 70 days. But the spear here, I think is really nice because, once again, no axiom, and I'm really bad at spears. Like, I would give you an example, but I don't really feel like finding an example of me being bad at building spears. But yeah, it's got a pretty unique shape. It's a very top heavy, so yeah. Here we also have the first instance of me actually hating how a build looked, like really hating how it looked, even like before finishing it. Like, this isn't finished at all. There's supposed to be some more detail on these 2 floors here, but it was taking a long time and I just didn't like how it looked, so I was just decided to chop it off and just call it quits for today. Yeah, it's got a pretty unique structure outside of, like, you know, the bottom grate down there. It's supposed to be like an oil rig, and I don't know how well I did in that department. Yeah, but overall, it's a good idea, I guess, but like, it's a pretty bad execution, as you can probably tell. Anyways, after skipping most of that row, move on to here. This was actually unfinished at the time, and I came back and I redid it because I had to finish some builds up for vacation. But it's a pretty unique shape in my opinion for the time too. I just try to make one of my builds unique in some way. So yeah, the roof shape here, I don't even know what I was trying to do with this roof shape, but the inspiration idea, sorry, the photo was like AI, so that makes sense. But yeah, this is where I definitely fell into that trap of sort of taking too much from an inspiration idea or a photo. And then also just the big windows here. These windows, I think, just like ruin the build. Do not make these like 3x3 arched windows. It just makes your build look bad. Just please use the 2x2. So the 2x, I don't even know, like a 2x4. I guess it looks a lot better. And same with this here. It's not as bad, but it still falls into that trap. And also, it's pretty bland, I would say. It doesn't really have much going on. But yeah, after those 2 horrendously bad builds, we move on to this medieval house. Now, it looks a lot worse the more you look at it, but I think it was pretty good, especially after building that. I tried to focus a lot on the details, but yeah, some of these walls are pretty flat because the main depth I tried to put into it was with the signs. And that didn't really pan out too well. Yeah, so it's a lot more front heavy, as you can see here. I tried to go full in with the detailing, got like a bit of like a masonry area, and first time using Axiom for like forced place, I think. Yeah, so around here is where I got Axiom. And over here is my, I think this is my first experiment house. It might have been a dirt house, but I'll just explain to you really quickly what I mean by this. And it's basically whenever I run out of time for the day and I had like a good idea, I just really quickly just slap together one of these, and I just try to use a bunch of wacky blocks that I've never used before. That, or I just try to make a pretty small house and just make it unique in a way. Really like fall back on these sort of like weird ideas whenever I run out of time, and you'll definitely see like while I pass by some of them that I just end up using them as fallback plan a lot of the time. So yeah, these are here. And for day 40, I tried to build sort of like an urban building, I guess, or like an apartment of sorts. And yeah, there's some logic gaps here. Like obviously this makes sense, this is fine, But just like this area here, like why did I put a sign where I didn't finish the roof? I don't even know what I was trying to do there. And also like this roof isn't finished either. Yeah, I don't really know, but I think the gradient really carries this one a lot because I think this is the first time I used Axiom gradient helper. You can use it, find it here in the inventory. And yeah, it definitely helped quite a bit, as you can tell. Like if this was just like a plain wall, like this would be really bad. So yeah, the gradient helps it a lot, like I said. And yeah, now we move on to the third row here. So first house of this row, we've got a beach house, like an actual house this time, not just like a thing off the beach or off the shore. But yeah, unfinished back here, you'll definitely see a lot more of those. And also forgot to turn back on no updates, which is why, yeah, there's the glow berries have grown quite a bit because I forgot to put string on them. Yeah, and I think I have a photo of it. I'll just put it on what the glow berries used to look like. But yeah, no updates really carries a lot of the details you'll see in these builds. Like for example, later on I use ice for the windows and the ice just melts because I have like end rods next to it. It's kind of annoying without no updates, which I like to turn off at some points because you'll see no updates I'm just really paranoid that no updates is gonna like mess something up in my world. I'm not really a fan of that. We get to the first colonial and only colonial that I've built actually. I really wanted to build one of these houses like a bit back, but I just never got to it. So yeah, I just decided, hey, 50 days, might as well try to do one of the builds I didn't want to do for a while. And yeah, I think it turned out decently. I think I liked it a lot more when I originally built it than I do right now, but I don't think it's bad per se, especially when you compare it to some of the other ones that I said were bad. Move on to this little end stone house that I built. So it would be like a hotter climate, I guess. And I took the inspiration photo from this from not Google Maps actually, Windows screensaver. I don't know why. Like the Windows 11 screensaver just gives me like random little places in the world, I guess, and I just found a pretty good one for that day and I just decided to use it. So yeah, that's where this one came from. I'm gonna showcase this one too because it has an interior built in it. I don't know why I decided to build an interior for this one. I guess I was a little inspired, but yeah, I definitely ran out of ideas once I got to that little bedroom over there. Yeah, it's decent interior, all things considered. And moving here is where I think I first started building for my vacation. Yeah, you can tell that I'm in a rush here. Like, I think the photo that I posted was just like a screenshot from here. So if I just change my settings. Yeah, I just took it like this. Obviously with the houses in the background. So I just took the screenshot like this and you just don't get to see the back of the Nether Fortress, and it's just a big block here. I just wanted like to get the full extent of the fog in the back, so yeah, that's why I did that. And we got the big boy here, the massive Victorian castle I tried to build. This one like legitimately took me 3 days. Like this was the definition of biting off more than you can chew, and I didn't even finish it. Like as you can see, like there wasn't even grass here originally. Like most of this was placed by Axiom too, so it's not even that big of an accomplishment in terms of block placing. And I just tried to like go for like a bit of an ornate thing here and detail later, but I just never got to the detailing because, you know, it took so long. So yeah, it's pretty bland with all the walls, but I guess you can, it's kind of made up by the detailing elsewhere. And yeah, definitely the biggest build that I had in this world, and it's definitely going to be the biggest build for quite a bit, because I don't really see myself building something this big for a while, unless it's like a huge project that I do later on. But even most of the projects I have planned for videos on this channel, they don't get this big yet, so it's gonna be a while before this gets topped. And now we show up to this little art studio here. So after building some really bad houses, I just decided to build something kind of wacky. And yeah, you get this funny house that I built with the color picker, and once again in the inventory here. But this is also the first time I used the little ASCII sign orientation. I don't really know what to call it. And we also got this little scooter, I guess, or a motorcycle. I was like, why do I have? Hold up, I have music toast on. Hope you don't mind that. And yeah, moving on, we also get this little inn I made here. I don't really know what style to call this, but I do use it a lot moving forwards. I guess you could say it's like English countryside or something like that along those lines. But yeah, once again, got the ASCII lettering here. I really liked it from the previous one. I just decided to use it again. Yeah, overall, pretty decent. Once again, gradient picker. But yeah, you'll see this again pretty soon. And also, just want to point this one out again because, you know, man-made terraforming. It's the only custom tree in this world. And it's, you know, it's a bit skinny. Oh, I did not mean to break that. Yeah, it's a bit skinny, and it's not the best, but it's small enough that even though it's not the most accurate, it still looks fine. And yeah, it's, you know, for building this in such a short time span, because I had to go on vacation, like I said, it's fine, I guess. I don't really know. I'm running out of things to say, honestly. Yeah, next up, I just want to showcase this because I really like it. It's got some pretty good detailing here. It's supposed to be like a mechanical workshop of sorts. It's just got like some ornamentation, I guess. Like, what is this even supposed to be? Like flowing lava from the ceiling? Yeah, you'll see that I just try to like put some random detailing in there, here and there, even if it makes like no real sense. It's like a bit of eye candy, I guess, and it makes your builds look a tad bit better. So I like to use that from time to time. And yeah, we also got, I think this is like basically the only thing you can call modern in this world. It's about the closest you'll get to a modern style. And now we move on to the fourth row here, the only row left that is not halfway finished, because the fifth row is halfway finished. So yeah, this is like a little apartment facade, I guess. It's basically just a wall, and I got roasted for it in the comment section. So I'd rather not talk about that. Instead, I'm going to talk about this. So as I said, you're going to see that, I don't know, once again, like Victorian English countryside, I don't even know. But yeah, you see it again here. I think it's pretty good. I think that little part is a little big, but I like it. I think I built this water wheel by myself, so I'm happy with that. And also, most of the detailing is on point here. I built it all by myself. So yeah, now we also got this like sugar shack here. I think I ran out of ideas for this day, so that's where this came from. But yeah, I think it's like one of the first usages of the default roof after, like, I don't even know, the dirt house that I built earlier. But yeah, it's got some little details in here, like the honey trying to represent like maple syrup, I guess. I'm not sure. And you can't forget about day 69, the Shrek house here. Surprisingly, this little volcano thing looks pretty decent for a meme house, but basically somebody tried to reserve a Shrek house for day 37, and I forgot about it. So 32 days late, I just decided to build it really badly. So yeah, it's empty, as you can see, and I just sort of threw together the shape in like 12 seconds. So yeah, I'm sorry to that guy. It's alright, the top part at least. And yeah, I'd rather not look at that. So we finally move on to the thing that dethroned the dirt house, and it's not much better. I mean, at least this thing has like a cool little wagon I put time into, and I tried to detail it a lot. But you know, it's literally a freaking campsite with a box of dynamite next to it. Like, what was really there to be had, anyways? But yeah, this pulled in more views than the dirt house, thankfully, so I'm happy with that one as well. And yeah, I tried to carry on the momentum with a few of these here, and I think they did actually pretty well. And that's where we move on to this. So this is the perspective house that I have. It's a little cursed if you look closer at it. Yeah, this is basically the shot that we got for what I posted, and it's a bit odd, I guess. It's not the most cursed, you know. I could have done some absolutely horrendous things, but the main reason I call it cursed is because of the floating grass. It's got a lot of nice details in it, and you know, backside is incomplete, but it does show a bit of like a nice foundation for what I move on to later on, because I do use something similar to this for a lot of the builds after this point. And you can like see I tried to like fake an interior in this part, even though the window that you can literally see through has literally nothing inside of it. But yeah, I just tried to fake an interior for this part. And if you look at it from that angle that I showed you guys, it doesn't look half bad. It actually looks like there's something here. But I do try to fake another one later on, which I'll show you in my second world. And that one went a lot less well. And now, moving on to this one here. This is basically like my window play space, as I called it. Yeah, I just threw a lot of windows here, and yeah, I guess most of them went pretty well. I think I used this for a lot of the windows I have now. This is just like the base model, and I use variations of this here in a lot of them too, but this window here, I don't use it too much now. There's a different one that I think I use a lot more. Hold up, that's wrong. Yeah, there's a different one I use a lot more, so yeah. But this is definitely where I started to make better windows, because before this, as I can show you here, like I just used the sort of arc windows for most of them, and yeah, that doesn't really work so well for some builds. So I'm happy that, oh my keyboard's broken. So I'm happy that the windows here turned out pretty nicely. And yeah, here we are now on the last row. So this house here is inspired by, I think, a Nintendo game. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it's a bit worse because originally the terrain for this is sort of like a cliff, and it looks a lot more climatic if you look at it from that perspective. But you know, it doesn't look half bad on a flat ground too. And yeah, I was happy with how it made it turn out. And we also have this little mine office here. I'm probably going to be going through most of the builds that I have for this last row, because I just put a lot of effort into them, except for one of them, I think. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of fun details that I decided to implement in here. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty neatly, and I also tried to build it into survival too. So that's always a good thing if I can build in survival. Yeah, now moving on, we have, just gonna replace that there so it looks better for this. Moving on, we now have my little, I don't know, it's like probably like top 3 for me, if not top 1 out of the houses that I have here. As I mentioned earlier, we got the sort of stack design that I had, and quite a few details that I implemented in here. I tried to go all out with the sort of structuring and all of that. Like, I built a dumpster. Like, I don't think I've built a this is like the only dumpster that I have. Well, actually there's another one, but this is like the second dumpster. No, this is the first dumpster actually. Yeah, that's the first dumpster I ever built. So I'm happy because dumpsters are cool. And yeah, the rest of this is not too eventful. It's basically just sort of like a combination of everything that I had up to this point. You can see like the windows, and got like the funky door and all the sort of supports. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, and now I'm gonna skip forwards over to the final 4 here. And first thing that we got is this little desert, I don't know what to call it. It's just a desert house. Yeah, it's a lot better than my first desert house that I made, which I'll show you guys in my second world. And yeah, it's got a lot more color to it. It's given more of that vibrant, and I made the windows smaller here. Yeah, I think that's the main thing that made the older one look bad. Just I had like the one block sized windows instead of the half size with the stairs. That definitely played a part. Yeah, I've got some unique stuff here that I think looked pretty nice. Yeah, I'm happy. Moving on, we have this little small thing here, and I want to point this out because can you guess what happened? Well, yeah, this one got 6.9k views and dethroned the other one that got a lot of views. And yeah, like this took me another 20 minutes. Like, how did this even happen? Like, thank you very much. I'm not trying to sound ungrateful, but how does this keep happening? I literally have no clue how this keeps happening. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's not even that big. It's not even that big. I don't know how this happened. And yeah, we also get this little construction thing here for day 99. Unfinished back. This is probably the second worst offender because would you know it, day 100 is actually the worst offender. But yeah, there's a lot of detail in this. For the front section, it's got a unique shape. And yeah, I like this very much, especially since it's adapted to the flat ground, which I do quite a bit, because this original one is in the ocean. Now we are on day 100, as you can see here. This is the only attempt I had at Cyberpunk throughout this whole series, and actually throughout the whole time building. My whole time building, at least. Yeah, so we got a completely empty back here. But I'm pretty happy with the idea of doing this Cyberpunk for the last day, because at the start I really wanted to do a Cyberpunk build and I just never got to do it because I was too lazy and put it off, just like what I've been doing with this video. And yeah, I'm just happy that I ended up doing it for the very last day, especially since the school year started halfway through the challenge. And I literally like procrastinated doing this for the time when I had the most time and left it off till I didn't have time at all. So yeah, happy with how this turned out very much, especially for a first attempt. Like there's obviously like only one of the little flashy colors you'd see in a Cyberpunk build like you'd expect it, but like this still falls under the same branch, I guess. And yeah, I'm happy for a first attempt. It's just crazy. I would never expect to do this as my first attempt, especially after whatever I did for the first attempt for Steampunk. And yeah, there you have it. This is the first world of it, and now we're gonna move on to the second world. Alright, so now we're here on this second world that I have here. It is 2 months ahead, so I don't know if my voice sounds different or not. It might be because I'm a little bit sick right now, but we do got about 10 builds on this world. Although I did lose a few because I forgot to mark down their coordinates. But as you can see, this is a regular world, not a super flat world, which is why I have 2 worlds in the first place. So most of these have actual terrain around them. So yeah, hope you enjoy and let's get right into it. Alright, so we're gonna start off with the first one we have here, because even though I'm already at one of the locations, this is actually the last one. So we're just gonna start with this first one here, so give me a second. There you go, found it. Alright, so this is, I don't think this is the first one, but this is the first one that I kept track of on this world. Basically, it's supposed to be like a bit of a temple, so I got like a bit of the glass trick here to make fog. And I felt that it wasn't really enough to substitute for a whole build, so I did add this little thing onto it as well. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. I think this is pretty bad, but this right here is actually pretty nice. I would definitely build this in something like survival, like maybe like a little bit different, but yeah, I really like it. We also have this, I'm not really sure what to call it. I'm gonna have a very fun time editing this because I have to type in the TP command every single time, so it takes a while to do that, and also someone has to find the build because I just TP it to a random position. But I did want to do this for a little bit, and because of that I did plan out a bit of a sphere first and used Axiom to copy paste it onto there. But I think the spear itself is okay. The main problem is that the shape, the overall shape of it just didn't work out. I think it's too short, and if you look at it from like this angle, if it kind of just forms a weird square. So when you're looking at it like this, with the ground there, it doesn't look that good. But if you do cover the bottom, it can look decent, I guess. I'm not really sure what to think about this anymore. It was pretty good inspiration, honestly, and I actually take the candles from that little end build. I don't know if you still remember it because that's been a while, because this is a very long video. But yeah, I do take those candles back and I put it into this. So yeah. Alright, now we also have this abandoned mineshaft. Now this is gonna be really hard to see, so if it's like basically impossible to see, I will go into post and expand the brightness. So yeah, I do have a torch just to be safe, because you never know. But yeah, I think this overall turned out pretty nicely. Because it's so dark, you can barely tell that I used the cursed building strategy to make the holes in the roof. But I felt like since it was like sort of like a deep dark, it's like, I don't know, maybe like the warden came in and nuked this place to the ground or something. And yeah, it's overall, it's a good sort of abandoned type of style. I don't think I'll really do this much again, because it's just, I think I'm not that good at it. It's just that I just sort of went around and just removed like all of the blocks. You know, there's definitely a lot that could be done to make it look more ruined in that aspect. But I mean, hey, it's a first try again, I'm pretty sure, if you can even consider it that. So yeah, and also I got roasted in the comment section for the brightness being so low, because people were just like, is this a joke? I can't believe you did it. And I was just like, why, man? Come on, I tried, okay? But yeah, that was a pretty bad interaction for me. But yeah, speaking of ruins, sorry, my PC fan is just kind of killing me right now, so I'm just gonna let that, so yep, there it goes. All right, so speaking of ruins, we also have this little ruined cathedral wall that I built. I'm pretty proud of this because the other one was sort of like destroyed or abandoned. This is more of that classic ruined type of look. It's my first attempt with a lot of this, and I think I executed the vines pretty nicely, because I don't really like regular vines. I think regular vines looks really bad, but I do sort of make it up with these glowberries, because they're a bit more 3D, I guess. And I think I killed it with some of these windows, because it really gives you that sort of grandeur, if that's the right word. I'm not really sure. Yeah, overall, I think it went pretty nicely. The back side, even though it's literally a wall, I didn't finish the back for whatever, who knows. Yeah, so this staircase is just leading up to nowhere. I don't know what the hell I was smoking while doing that. But yeah, I did the same approach, really. I just broke a bunch of the blocks down, replaced some of them. And yeah, that's how I ended up with this. Okay, so apparently, in order of my papers here, this is now the next one. So yeah, I think this is probably the best one on this world. I'm not sure if it's the best one as in out of everything, but this took me 3 days to build because it is very big, and I had to texture all of this. I textured all of this by hand, so it was pretty annoying to completely finish it. And also, that's why the back's just this. Yeah, I already spent 3 days working on 3 of the sides. There's no way I'm doing the back side, alright? But yeah, this is supposed to be like a ocean fortress or something like that. And yeah, there's like a lot of details in here. Like, for example, we got this little burb here, and then this boat. I think the point of this guy here was to sort of make it look like the boat is tied to the dock, but instead it just looks like the parrot's being held captive for some reason. But yeah, I think this guy's my parrot actually, so I don't know how that works. And also, I really like this sort of like crane thing. I don't know what this is supposed to be. and maybe it's bird poop, I don't even know. And yeah, there's a lot of different parts of what I've learned. Like for example, the roof here is sort of a mishmash of the Victorian one I was talking about earlier. There's also the sort of painting from, what do you call it, sort of the gradient picker, and then there's these little, yeah, I don't even know what to call these either. I guess I'll call them outpost things, with the weird windows with the trapdoors and fences and all that. So yeah, there's just a lot of things to go through, and I don't feel like doing that. But yeah, I think this is probably also top 3 once again. There could definitely be more depth into it, because it's most of this half is just like a flat wall that connects to this half. So yeah, and also the centerpiece here, it was something else originally, but like I couldn't give it a proper sort of finish, so I just decided to make some random thing up there. I'm not sure. Okay, so this here by Logging Cabin, we built this little thing here because as I said, I was spending 3 days on that cold ocean build. So obviously, this is gonna be a lot smaller, but I think it's actually decent. The sort of cabin thing I already used previously in that little snowy shed thing. So yeah, it was definitely going to be a lot easier the second time around. And yeah, there's some details in here that I wouldn't have used otherwise. So yeah, I'm happy with that as well. Alright, so that's the second world done, but we're not done yet, because of course there's bloopers. A little interesting thing there. What is this tree? This generation is like the most random thing of all time. Okay, a bit of a spoiler, but I've blown up 3 of these at this point. Okay, hold up. I think I wrote the wrong date for wrong chords for this. I'm gonna have to look back in my recording this year. Alright, so I think I found it. I don't know what. Okay, so I know what build it is now. I just gotta find it somewhere. But I'm gonna try to type the negative version of this. Hi, I'm back here, and why don't we call it at that, because I proceed to spend the next like 20 minutes looking for this thing, and not only that, but I diagnose it as the wrong build missing. I think it's this logging cabin that I talked about earlier, but actually it's this random desert house that I have. Oh, I forgot I had this little replica of my room here. It has a working light switch, kind of. I don't know why this is here, man. So you finally made it to the end of the video. I know it's been a long one. It's been quite a doozy to edit, as well as it's concurrently December 18th, and I started this at like October 5th. This video, I'm saying. If you guys enjoyed, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. You know, I kind of hate asking for that, but no pressure if you don't want to. And also, there's going to be some world downloads in the description, because I tried to do a montage, but kind of hard to deal with replay mod at the moment, so I'm just gonna leave those in there for you guys if you want to look around. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. That's not supposed to happen.
Summertown, love's in its prime. Summertown, everything's just fine.